Bonsoir Afrique, mon Afrique. Merci de nous avoir ce soir dans vos lieux. Nous sommes ici au domicile de notre frère. Sur cette table, nous sommes entourés de plusieurs autorités. Je présente d'abord ici le président Mbou, qui est le président du Rassemblement du peuple camerounais aux États-Unis. On va commencer sur ma droite. Vous êtes monsieur
John Taber.
Hey, Joseph Tessie.
I was from Michael.
Et sur la gauche du président Mbou, il y a monsieur
James Agomba.
Merci d'accepter notre invitation. L'équipe d'Afrique, mon Afrique, est contente de vous recevoir ce soir. Mon nom c'est Doudou Teclin, vous voulez à la présentation. Ce débat va être en français, en anglais, parce que l'Afrique est bilingue. D'abord, je vais poser la question à tous ceux qui sont ici. Chacun est libre de prendre la parole. Si je vous demandais, qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'Afrique aujourd'hui? Quelle idée vous avez de l'Afrique de nos jours? Qu'est-ce que vous pouvez dire de l'Afrique? Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'Afrique? Sur tous les points. Tout le monde est libre de prendre la parole.
Okay, well, maybe I should start. My sister, I think Africa actually is on the crossroads today between development and between the future of where development goes, the direction of development. I call it vision, where the leaders want to take Africa to. And I want to assume that from a strategic point of view, the African leaders are actually doing the best they could to lead Africans where they want to go. And I assume that we in the diaspora have to be looking up to where they want to go and how we could help. Because there's only one leader in the ship, one captain in the ship, and at a time. So if it happens that the captain has to lead at that time where we elect him to, we need to follow up and we see how we can help him.
Somebody else? Somebody else have to add?
Yeah, I think that, like he rightly put it, Africa is really on the crossroads, and we got leaders who are in place, and they're doing their best. Their best is not enough. And many Africans have been going abroad. The continent is suffering from a brain drain. Most of the smart kids around are migrating to Western countries. Most of the smart brains in the African continent are moving to the West. And it leaves the African continent very few people to rely on to do better things in the future. So there should be an incentive, locally speaking, in Africa that encourages people to stay, especially the young smart ones. And that has to come from the leadership. If the leadership doesn't take that initiative, the young ones who are helpless can do it. Second, Africa's development has to be partnered with that of the West. And in the West, Africa suffers from so much negative publicity. Africa is deemed as backward, unproductive, and corrupt. If we don't fight all those three ills, Africa has no headway. And the Western media in particular doesn't do Africa any good at all. And if it can change their editorial policy towards Africa, show the good things about Africa, encourage Westerners to invest in Africa, and encourage the Africans who are in the West, you know, kind of say something that will let them know that going back home is worth it. And Africans themselves have to make up their own minds that our future lies in Africa. And maybe one day they could stand to go back home.
Yeah. Somebody has something to add?
Yeah. As the last speaker rightly said, the wealth of this world is in Africa. It's not for nothing that Europeans and maybe people from the West and Asia come to Africa for business. But the point is that while the wealth is in Africa, Africans themselves don't have a strong hold on their resources. This is as a result of the fact that Africa only produces raw materials. They don't produce finished goods. Then in the world arena, Africa doesn't dictate the prices of their commodity. So those who consume their commodities always decide the prices. And everybody knows that he who has the yam and the knife always dictates the pace. So in order for us to take a leadership role, we ourselves, Africans, have to exploit the talents we have. We have to make it, create a conducive environment for African intellect to thrive. We have one of the best brains in Africa, that we have a drain. In the wise that even the brains don't have a room to play in our political system.